Hachalu Hundessa, a towering musician and an Oromo icon. Few artists in East Africa have left a legacy as profound as Hachalu Hundessa. Hailed as the undisputed king of contemporary Oromo resistance music, known as Geerarsa, Hachalu's influence extended far beyond melodies and lyrics. To many within the Oromo community, he was a vital figure in their struggle for political freedom. Welcome to our documentary on Hachalu Hundessa, a towering musician and an Oromo icon whose legacy continues to resonate deeply within Ethiopia and beyond. Join us as we explore his life, his music, and the indelible mark he left on the fight for justice and equality. Hachalu inspired the Qubee generation, ethnic Oromos born after Ethiopia was restructured along ethno-linguistic lines in 1991 and educated in their mother tongue. And his music served as a rallying cry during the 2015-2018 Oromo protests and beyond. His intensely political lyrics refined and clarified the enduring nature of state-sponsored Oromo marginalization. When Hachalu was assassinated by unidentified assailants on June 29, 2020, in Finfinne, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia lost not just a strikingly talented musician, but also a political and cultural icon. His assassination sent shockwaves across the country, particularly in Oromia, the Oromo majority region of Ethiopia, and triggered major protests in Finfinne and elsewhere. Over 253 people were killed in the ensuing clashes, and more than 1,000 were arrested, including leading figures of the Oromo Liberation Front and Oromo Federalist Congress parties. Amid the violence, millions of Ethiopians mourned the death of an artistic figure who inspired a peaceful political struggle against repression and paved the way for significant political change. Born in 1986 in Ambo, a storied city in the Oromia state about 100 kilometers west of Finfinne, Hachalu was the fifth son of Hundessa Bonsa, an electricity department employee, and Gudatu Hora, a stay-at-home mother. His father wanted him to study medicine, but Hachalu showed little interest in academic studies. From an early age, he had a passion for art and music. With the support of his mother, Hachalu honed his craft while looking after cattle on the outskirts of Ambo. He grew up at a time when the ruling elites saw the Oromo as a potential threat, and Oromos from all walks of life were subjected to widespread repression based on actual or perceived opposition to the government. The state violence triggered growing resistance within the community. Hachalu attended school in Ambo, a city that came to symbolize the tenacity and unyielding determination of the Oromo protest movement of 2015-2018. In high school, Hachalu joined a school club where he began singing and participating in a clandestine student movement at a time when high schools and colleges became dissident political spaces and came under intense government surveillance and policing. In 2003, at the age of 17, he was accused of supporting the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, an Oromo nationalist organization that has been banned, and was sent to jail. Prison did not break Hachalu's determination. It shaped him into the towering musical genius and cultural and political icon that he became. It helped him understand the precarity and vulnerabilities associated with his identity, gave him time to read Ethiopian history, and made him a revolutionary agent and a voice for change. Having never been charged, he was released after 5 years. In 2009, Hachalu burst onto Ethiopia's music scene with his first album, Sanyi Muti, Royalty. He wrote most of the lyrics in prison, and the record-breaking album propelled the 22-year-old to national stardom. In June 2015, he released his mesmerizing single track Malanjira, What Existence Is Mine, in which he condensed the history and story of the Oromo people with astonishing depth. The song was an ethnographic exploration of the precarious existence of the Oromo within the Ethiopian state, where the conditions for cultural visibility and audibility were hostile to the Oromo. Referring to experiences of dispossession and land grabs that led to the eviction of more than 150,000 Oromo farmers from around Finfinne or Shagar, he sang, translate as, they demolished that landscape that was never meant to be demolished. They separated us, we are separated. We were not meant to be separated. Rooted in an existential crisis, Malanjira was a powerful indictment of the disquieting Oromo experience and the structural anomalies built into the fabric of the Ethiopian state. Malanjira is a poetic expression of experiences of precarity, a tune that silently yet profoundly animated the fledgling nationwide protest movement. Released a few months after the Ethiopian government launched the Addis Ababa Integrated Master Plan, which would have expanded the territorial limits of the city into neighboring Oromia towns and villages. And 4 months before the start of the Oromo protests, Malanjira served as the soundtrack of the Oromo Revolution that eventually forced Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn out of office. In October 2017, Hachalu released Jira, We Are Here, a sequel to Malanjira. The new song was a statement of endurance, resilience, and self-affirmation. It highlighted the culture-shifting transformations taking root within the Oromo community and the Ethiopian political landscape. It was a redemptive thrill that affirmed the collective optimism of the Oromo people, a definitive confirmation that this was no longer a culture in jeopardy or a society in decline, but one in the midst of a robust ascendancy. In December 2017, Hachalu delivered a monumental performance at the Millennium Hall in Finfinne, attended by high-ranking public officials from the then-ruling Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, EPRDF, including PM Abiy Ahmed and ex-defense minister Lemma Megersa. As soon as Hachalu occupied the stage, the scene immediately felt magical. His first simple utterances, Ashama, Ashama, hello, hello, radiated a rush of emotions like a burst of spiritual energy in those who understood the Gerarsa repertoire and its unconscious grammar. As he walked the stage like a lion walking around his pride, Hachalu evoked an outpouring of emotional exuberance, rarely experienced by the Oromo, agitating and stirring something deep in his adoring audience. In an emphatic nod to the emergent potential to collectively overcome precarity, he asked the audience, Jirtuu, 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 are you here? Are you here? Electrifying the whole concert hall. That performance and the public response to it strengthened the hands of the Oromo wing of the EPRDF, the Opido, and ushered in political change within the ruling group. Less than 4 months later, Abiy Ahmed, an Opido and Oromo himself, was sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Hachalu became the embodiment of the hopes and aspirations of ordinary Oromos. He was not just a great musician who could unwaveringly maintain near-perfect pitch, even in the highest register. He was also a rhetorical genius of incalculable imaginative and creative power. He used his artistic tools to engage in the most profound reflections on issues of identity, dispossession, precarity, marginalization, and love. Without exception, his songs encapsulate some of the most complex, subtle, and painful narrations about the reality of the Oromo experience within the Ethiopian state. The political repression, cultural subordination, and economic deprivation the Oromo have been suffering for decades. Hachalu did not just speak truth to power, he sang truth to power, and the people sang with him. He made many people, especially those in power, uncomfortable. In his last interview, he spoke about how he lived with constant death threats and gave details of how he narrowly escaped the wrath of the security forces after the December 2017 performance. He also expressed his disappointment at the direction the country had taken under the leadership of Abiy Ahmed and the inability of the government to answer even the most basic of Oromo demands. He said he was working on several songs about the current situation in the country. Like many Oromos, Hachalu had initially supported Abiy's government and his promise of change. Hachalu's musical genius helped in one way or another bring Abiy to power. But his administration's denial of an independent investigation into the assassination of Hachalu and mishandling of the funeral may now serve as a catalyst for his undoing. Hachalu deserved a heroic send-off, but the government's decision to rush his funeral and bury him in Ambo was an affront to his remarkable legacy and a sign of contempt for the Oromo people. The arrest of prominent Oromo leaders with considerable followings added more fuel to the fire. Amid simmering anger, the country found itself in a dangerous situation that could bring about more violence and instability. As we remember Hachalu Hundessa, we find ourselves in an even more unfortunate situation. Years after Hachalu Hundessa's assassination, the Ethiopian state is in a deeper political and security crisis. In pursuit of the ill-conceived mega Making Ethiopia Great Again project of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopia is embroiled in three devastating civil wars in the Oromia, Amhara, and Tigray regions, an area that is estimated to cover 70 to 80% of the entire country combined. Since 2019, the Abiy-led Prosperity Party government has been engaged in a deadly conflict against the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, in the Oromia region. Oromia, the most populous and centrally located region in Ethiopia, is crucial in terms of its economy, human resources, natural resources, and as the host of the federal government, the African Union, and other multilateral organizations. In addition to the conflict in Oromia, the government has been in conflict with the Amhara Fano militia in the Amhara region since April 2023. This deadly war erupted shortly after the November 2022 Pretoria Agreement, which ended the armed conflict in Tigray between the Abiy PP government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. These unnecessary wars have shattered the social fabric, crashed the economy to the point where the government struggles to pay employee salaries and left millions starving. The Tigray War alone consumed millions of lives and over $80 billion in resources. Wrapping it up, Hachalu's death is an incalculable loss to the Oromo people and Oromia. He is truly irreplaceable in the most powerful sense of that word. He was someone who sensed the political wind and had the unique ability to give poetic expression to the distinct experiences of the Oromo with terminal clarity. His songs enchanted the Oromo audience, provided aesthetic and emotional transcendence, and summoned their common deliberation. This is Hachalu Hundessa, a towering musician, a political and cultural icon, and a symbol of hope and resilience for the Oromo people. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. Thank you for joining us in this tribute to Hachalu Hundessa. Please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of remarkable individuals who have left an indelible mark on history. Kote kote nami, chisani darbate, kote kote nami, chisani darbate.